Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Today I'm going to talk you through how I made this cinematic architecture video. It's been about 10 months since I posted it. It's had around 3,000 views and 70 likes, which is really successful for one of my videos. So I thought I'd make a video about it. I'm going to talk about the workflow and the technical aspects of it, but also the aesthetics and what I wanted to achieve and how I did it. So it was visualized in Unreal Engine 4, but before that it was modeled in SketchUp, and I just found a pretty basic model on the SketchUp warehouse and started to change it to improve it. I made the openings bigger, I generally made it more modern, just something more exciting. I think I tidied up the eaves as well, just made it more architectural and more interesting. I chose this model because the intent for this video was to have a nice contemporary house, one that was quite architectural, but also one that you could see yourself in. And that's really what drove the aesthetics of the visuals later, is that I just wanted to make it really warm, summery, and quite homely. So after much modelling, when it was finally ready, I packaged it with the Datasmith exporter and imported it into Unreal Engine. Okay, so here we are in Unreal Engine. This is the final product, it's the final output, and I'm just going to go through the settings and the effects, some of the materials. So let's begin with the lighting. That is the first thing that I always set after I've imported. So I have it set to movable. So after you've built your lighting, you can change the direction of it without having to rebuild the lighting. It's a little less in quality than doing stationary or static, but it allows you to move it about. And for this exterior scene, I think that's fine. For an interior scene, I wouldn't do it. I have the lighting colour set to quite warm, because it's that summery, evening, dusky effect that I'm after. I've also got the volumetric scattering intensity ramped up. You can see the effect that it has, and I'll just talk about that a little bit later. And I also have sun shaft blooms enabled and then tweaked. And if we find where the sun is, there you can see these sun shafts here coming through the trees, and that's what this enables. And I also have that set to a warm colour to match with the overall colour lighting. So if I just turned it up, you can see the effect it has, but we'll pop that back down. And that's the directional light. Now, exponential height fog is an awesome tool, and it's where the whole atmosphere really comes in. So I'll just disable it so you can see. This is like a dynamic fog system, and you can see it creates loads of depth in your scene and loads of atmosphere, and it does that pretty much straight away, but I'll just go through the settings that I had. So I tweaked the fog density up a little bit, just exaggerated it, and I enabled volumetric fog. And you can see the effect that that has, and that's where the depth really comes in. And the volumetric fog basically just interacts with the light and the camera angles. It's not just one, homogeneous blanket. It has darker parts, lighter parts, depending on the objects around it and the light that's hitting it and how you're viewing it. It's really clever, and then that's what allows you to enable volumetric scattering. So for those effects, to be ramped up, turn the volumetric scattering up on your directional light, like so. So you see it's really powerful here, but then it fades out and, you know, vanishes here, and it just creates a really nice layer of depth. So in regards to the context, all this foliage and the trees, they are free assets that I picked up from the Epic Games marketplace. Particularly it's the Megascans Meadow Pack. It's free and it's super high quality, as you can see, and it's got a variation of foliage and grass types, and I just wanted to give it that sort of wild grass effect, that meadowy sort of effect. So up here with the foliage brush, just dropped in the assets that I wanted and just brushed it all over the terrain. I put more details in where my camera angles would be, like here for example. If I flick to it, this camera angle that I have set up, which I filmed from, I have the lighting set up in a certain way. I also have these dragonflies and foliage built up a bit more here. I'm just picking and choosing where I'm putting more details to help the performance. For the materials, I didn't spend a lot of time on them. I would do now, but you know, I did this 10 months ago and I've learned a little bit more since then. So literally all this material is the base texture and a normal map made in Photoshop. That's it. And it's the same with this metal cladding. It looks alright, you know. It's not photorealistic, but that's not really what this project I was trying to achieve with this project. And it's the same, well actually it looks like I went into a little bit more depth here. So I've got a normal map, I made a world position offset, a displacement map, and an ambient occlusion map. Looks like I was going to start some sort of texture variation, but I don't know, I guess I just didn't. I liked the way that it performed, I guess. Has a shine on it when the light hits across its surface, but it's still quite a muted matte metal effect, and that shine is what I wanted to achieve, just so it interacts with the light, and that's about it really. That's all I needed to do. And to make the seams look three-dimensional, and I achieved that, and that was enough. And it's the same with the slate tiles. I just gave them the finish that I think slate tiles generally have. Just, you know, the light's spread across the surface quite nicely, and that was it. So you can see that effect there. Okay, that was just a brief overview of this project and how I created it. I didn't really go too much into the technical aspects of it or any performance issues that I had. There's a lot of videos on those, including the importing with Datasmith, loads of information on that elsewhere. I just wanted to give you a brief overall of, you know, the aspirations for the project and how I created it. I just prioritized a few things: lighting, atmosphere, a couple of performances on materials, and that's the effect that I got for it. I hope, you know, this was helpful to you in some way. If it was informative, that's great. If you're still watching now, unbelievable, thank you. Please comment, like and subscribe. Any questions, just let me know and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching.